Hello friends, welcome to this fifth video of Thuja, and this remedy really deserves so much of time to understand, to apply, because when you prescribe Thuja, when you understand this personality, it benefits not only to the person but society as a whole. And that is why how much ever videos are made on these old remedies which are there from years together, and you will find them really very applicable and commonly applicable even today because of their inherent nature, because of the life experiences, because of the journey that they have undergone. Like last video we discussed on delusion glass is made of, delusion thin he is, and brittle he is. So I had a case of hypothyroidism, autoimmune thyroiditis, and this female, her appearance, it was such a pleasant appearance that she was a thin lady. So it is not that by default every Thuja will be a thin lady, but maximum cases of Thuja that I have seen, they are all thin emaciated kind of structures. I could not believe my eyes and my understanding that this lady is mother of two children. She was so thin and slim, and that too autoimmune thyroiditis, because in thyroiditis anyways there is weight gain. So this was one case where it was just the reverse. So she lived in a joint family. Her in-laws were staying with her as well as not staying with her. They all stayed in the same society, and her husband's relatives, all elderly people, her own relatives, they all stayed in the same society, nearby. She herself has two grown-up kids, and the way she dressed up, slim and trim structure, a short top, tight fitting jeans, and a very well taken care of nails. How people do nail art these days, there are nail art parlors also. So she had those artificial long nails with typically artwork done on all nails, different colors used, and so finely she had put her eyeliner and well tied hair. So the female who really takes care of her looks. So somewhere you will find in description that she is very near to Natramure, but she's not Natramure. Okay, we will discuss at length why not Natramure, because her say was such that I get recurrent fever and cold. Like every 10 days I get fever, I get cold, then I have to take antibiotics, anti-allergics. Without that I just cannot survive. And then once this cycle is over, and then again in within 10 days I again catch cold, and this has been going on for years together, and I'm just fed up of this. The way she narrated that, even in summers also, the fan is just on a speed of 1 2, and I'm sitting in the same living area where everyone is sitting, but I start sneezing. I just can't take little draft of air. So this is the thinness, this is body is thin, that it cannot hold, or it cannot take in anything minute changes or disturbances also, bring about harmony, disharmony in her body, and everything goes for a toss. Then she's like, I have to manage so many elderly people around me, and I am not able to perform all that. Even when we go out, people are enjoying with drinks and ice creams, and I have little, just a sip from their bottle, or just a spoonful from their cup of ice cream, and I start sneezing, my eyes start watering, and everything goes for a toss. And if they fall ill, then also I am the one who's to manage, and then that anxiety is always there inside me, that I have to do this, I have to do this. So somewhere we will see that she's a very dutiful, responsible lady. So how you interpret, it depends on that. If you interpret in that way, you will land up in sepia and ignatia kind of things, that she's taking care of all that. But if you look into her person, herself, her inside. If you just try to go near her soul, you will understand that she's so delicate, that little things are affecting her. The anticipation, whether I'll be able to do it or not, that ailments from anticipation will be reflected. Now with Thuja, what happens is her thinness goes away. She's able to tolerate little things, and in 3 to 4 months of time, she repeated her thyroid reports started coming normal, and she was like, the recurrency started breaking, and she was not dependent so much on other medicines after starting on Thuja. So this was one case, and there was another girl of similar category of physical stature, and she was just in ninth standard, single girl child, working parents. And with this kind of IPR, what happens, the ratio, the compatibility with the parents is a little on a weaker side. She compares herself with other kids in the school. They have siblings, my friends have siblings, and I don't have. That kind of forsaken feeling, that kind of outcast feeling, that I don't feel belong to the group. I have a fear that if I be rejected, that anticipation before examination, there is something wrong in me, there is something that I need to keep correcting myself on, and that kind of guilt feeling is always there. And then coupled with again this allergic rhinitis issue, she cannot take a draft of air, and everything was falling in the same kind of say in this girl also. And I gave her Thuja, and she was just able to come out of this state and more confident about her upcoming exams and everything. She was just confused and underconfident. My 9th, my 10th, what will I do? Thuja repeatedly given on whenever the allergic episodes came, water doses given, and she was able to cope up. So this is how the brittleness is there, the delicateness is there, and these kind of recurrent issues, they keep happening and they feel diminished, their powers going depleting, and again and again they feel that I am just lost, I cannot manage it, and how will I, this is making them more and more sensitive and closed people. So what kind of Thuja personality are we looking at? Are they just these thin people? Thin people in what sense? They are not like I had a query on Lachesis being very close to Thuja. Yes, it could be, because the kind of energy we saw in the earlier journey of Thuja is very similar to that of Lachesis. But the indulgence, you see, the indulgence of Thuja is so high that once it is broken, they go into extreme form of guilt, and then they try to cover up that feeling of guilt by being lying, by being manipulating, dishonest, untruthful. They don't want to talk about it. Even if they are talking, they talk in such a way that their faults are not seen by people, and they will make story in such a way as if there is a sense of gaining pity or sympathy over them, but they cannot overcome this kind of problem, and then they keep walking in a circle. Dr. Nikhil had shown one case of Thuja very long back, where the lady is having quarrels with the in-laws, and where she's narrating the same quarrel story every day which is happening in her house in such a way that it seems as if it is the fault of the other party and not not herself. But she keeps going on and on. I eat achar, I have problem. I eat curd, I have problem. And then that entire journey of walking in a circle keeps going on and on. You'll be like, when this tape recorder will stop, because I am tired of listening to the same story every now and then. So there was another case by Dr. Shilpa Kelkar, who had shown this case around 2 years back, and that lady was not connected. She was abroad, she was not connected with her parents, and then she was in love with a boy who married her. She was behind him that we should get married. After getting married, he ate up all her money, And then he kept on saying that, we have loans. She kept on fulfilling all the loan requirements, giving away all her savings and her money in the relation. And then he started neglecting her. He went back to India, and then for a few months they were not in touch. So she thought, and everyone is telling her, you just break away from such a relation where you are depleting your resources, where you don't have your own identity and existence. You are every time going back to him. So this is something, when they break away from their passion. So intellectually they break away, but emotionally somewhere they are connected. So such kind of relations where they have been in love with somebody, they have to break that relation. So they keep on going into other relationships very mechanically. They are not connected emotionally. So this kind of promiscuity will be seen in Thuja people, where they don't have a connection, because they want to just run away from it. They have anger towards themselves. They want to punish themselves. That self-loathing is there in Thuja. They will keep going, indulging in very bad relations, the kind of positions and the kind of physical equation which they have. So the kind of addictions they will go into, this will all depict that they don't like themselves. Like in a fashion movie of Priyanka Chopra, the last part is a very typical of Thuja kind of self-loathing, where they don't like themselves. They overindulge such kind of drugs and alcohol too much, and to the extent sleeping with a negro, and then feeling so bad about oneself and saying that I deserve this kind of life because I am so bad. And this is what they keep feeling, and they keep harboring those kind of negative emotions, and this kind of circle goes on. This girl of Dr. Shilpa, she comes to India to meet her husband, just giving a surprise, and she figures out that he already has a family in India with kids and everything. So the kind of outcast feeling, the kind of forsaken feeling, the lost affection of friend, with what face she will go back to London and say that my husband is already married. So worthless, I'm just good for nothing. Heavy is, he's a criminal. Insane is, and then washing desire to wash all the time comes up, where they feel I'm dirty, I'm this, and just wash away. I just want everything clean. And then again that thinness, too much indulgence into something where your emotional self is not in balance with your intellectual self. You're intellectualizing too much, and then goes into fanaticism, where intelligence doesn't work at all. You are just occupying yourself, and you just intellect gets actually narrowed, and emotion is also predominating in that narrow space, and you feel that no kind of reasoning is allowing you to part with that kind of passion that Thuja beholds. And this too much indulgence and too much of fanaticism gives rise to this insanity, will not be touched. And then that touch becomes, don't touch me, this kind of thing. Despair, religious despair of salvation, kill desire to kill oneself, fear approaching of others in delirium, dwells, recalls disagreeable memories, anger violent when things don't go as they wish, indifference to everything, to opposite sex, delusion she cannot exist any longer, time has come to die, one was about to die, weeping desire to weep all the time, forsaken, outcast, impulse morbid to walk, insanity will not be touched with it, sees dead person, suicidal disposition, thoughts vanishing while speaking. So this is the end stage of Thuja, where she has lost affection of her own people, and by her own deeds and by her own guilt, although they are not that bad, they are innocent people, but the indulgence, the kind of guilt after withdrawing, and then not listening to her own people, to their own parents, to their own friends, and then they believe that their passion and what they are attached to is more than anything else in the world. Now I don't have any kind of such grave state of Thuja, but there was a lady. Now this lady was again a slim and trim lady, an elderly lady, a senior citizen category. Now she came to me with weird complaints where there was some feeling of cotton on the tongue, and she literally showed me that, you know, there is a white saliva on my tongue all the time, and there was frothy white saliva on the tongue all the time, and that lemon kind of taste. There is acidity, and there are sciatic pains, and there are multiple complaints of this lady. Every little thing will give her some or the other complaint. This is how you cannot. Thuja actually traps the mind of the physician, because whatever the physician suggests, Thuja will say, I have problem with this, I have problem with that. You know, somewhere if you suggest something to subside her acidity, she will say, no, this gives rise to joint pain. If you say something that you do walking regularly, then she will say, no, I get vertigo. So that is also like walking in a circle, you know. The physician is also walking in the circle with Thuja. So then I asked her, and she had a lot of hyperpigmentation on her face, and I initially gave her another remedy, I'll just say. So her background was that her husband has been a patient of Parkinsonism, and he is on the last stage of Parkinsonism. For 25 years he has been suffering with that, and now he is on bed, like completely dependent on some help to lift him, to take him to the washroom, to give him a bath, for every little thing. And their kids, she has 2 sons, and they stay abroad. So what happens is that she's always having this kind of anxiety that these new people, the helpers that she's hiring, they are always in the house, and you know, there is a morning to night shift helper, then night to morning shift helper, and I'm the only lady in the house. So what will happen? And then she can't get her sleep, and if they do something, and you know, if something happens, then who is there nearby to look after? Then she stays awake late till the night, till the time she talks to both her sons. She does not get sleep. So this kind of fear was there, constant, that now I have come for a walk, now they are alone in the house, what will happen when I go back? If something happens, then? So she's always on the go, you know, that sympathetic nervous system is always switched on. So then I asked her, and then I gave her hyoscyamus on this fear of being betrayed, the eyes coming loud, and you know, the gestures of suspicion. So I gave her a hyos, but hyos did not seem to work, and I was also not satisfied. So then it struck me that this suspiciousness, this kind of fear of approaching of others, people seem strange to him, and they feel, you know, that if something happens, then what? This kind of anticipation is there in her, and this kind of thinness is there, and this kind of walking in the circle is there, and this fragility, this delicate problem of her, that getting affected by little things, and wanting to talk to her son, not getting sleep, that because she feels that something is wrong, and you know, I cannot just lie down. So then I gave her Thuja, and it worked marvelously. She discontinued the sleeping tablet within a week's time. She was like, I can sleep without my sleeping pill, I do not need Restil anymore. Just in 3 nights she stopped it, and that she was taking for 3 years every day, without which she would not get sleep at all. She's like, I used to be awake, that my sons, it will be morning, I will talk to them in the night till 2-3. She used to be awake to talk to them. She stopped doing that I feel so sleepy that I just doze off. So now that kind of anxiety and the fear reduced. So I know this video is prolonged a bit, but I think it is worth it. Do apply this remedy and share with me. Thank you so much. Your comments are very appreciable. Thank you for all the comments and all the likes, and do subscribe and share about it with other friends of yours. All the very best. Bye. And yes, Thuja is something which brings the person out of this circle. People are there, very motivating people are there around, but when you give homeopathic similimum, the person himself realizes, and that self-loathing stops, and they themselves willingly come out of this kind of state where they have been cripping about themselves and feeling very bad inside, although they are not that bad. So homeopathy is the need of the hour, and just prescribe Thuja to such personalities and share your different views and cases. Thank you. Bye bye. Finally.